Welcome to Smacky's Garage. Today we're going to be looking at one of the most important projects for your classic car. We're going to be installing a fire extinguisher. Now, no one wants to be in a situation when they need a fire extinguisher, but it's much more important to have one on hand if that need ever occurs. Now, what really got me thinking about classic cars and fire extinguishers is there was a parade going on for the 4th of July and the classic Mustang went up in flames. The owner said that it was puking out transmission fluid everywhere and that fluid caught fire, and because the owner or people nearby had fire extinguishers, there was minimal to no damage to that classic Mustang. So that's a good reason to have one in your vehicle. Now we're also going to look at how to mount that fire extinguisher in the vehicle. Not only is it important to have a fire extinguisher in the car, but if you have one that's not mounted, if you get in an accident, it can become a projectile, and that's really dangerous. So not only is it important to have a fire extinguisher, but it's also important to make sure that it's mounted safely and within reach if you deem to use it. Now here's what we're going to be installing. We have an H3R fire extinguisher, and we also have the fire extinguisher mount kit from H3R. All of these I bought. This I recently bought from Summit Racing. This I've had, I'm pretty sure I bought it from there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use this seat mount kit to mount it to my 69 Mustang. Now the reason why I went with this kit is because essentially you can mount it to any seat, or you're supposed to be able to. It extends and you should be able to make it fit whatever car you have. So we're going to be trying to figure out how to put this on my 69 Mustang. It comes with an owner's manual, some bolts, feels like some extra parts, some brackets, more brackets. Everything is nicely wrapped. And this is the full mount for the seat bracket, which I'm guessing you put together and extends however you need to set it up. And then you have a bunch of different pieces here that you're going to be using depending on how it's getting installed. So we'll go through and we'll look through the instruction manual and we'll figure out how to install this. Now I'm going to point out they do have an assembly and installation video on their website, but unfortunately it's not working right now. So I can't access it to see how to install it, so I'm going to install it myself. All right, we're going to have to take a quick look at the car to see how we're going to mount this, because I don't think it's going to be as easy as I wanted to, where I don't have to take out the seat. So let's go ahead and look at the car. Now, looking at the seat, there's probably two good options of where to put it. I can either put it in the front of the seat on the floor or on the back of the seat. On the front of the seat, there really isn't a good option of where to put this. You can see there's a bolt there, but it's just a through hole to the floor. So in order to put it there, I'd have to remove the seat. Same thing for the back. I also need to make a decision if I'm going to put this on the passenger side or driver's side. Now with the seat all the way forward, still not much of a place to put this. So I think the best place for me to put it with the best access is on the back of the seat. I don't have back seats in this, or I don't run them. I keep the seat down. So having reduced footroom down there is okay. Even though if you wanted to put it here, you probably could get away with it pretty easily. If you wanted to put it in the front of the seat, it looks like you could do it without any issue. Your legs would be above it. So I guess to get this together, I'm going to need to take the seat out. All right, to take out the seat, it's 4 bolts, and then it should lift right out. Luckily on these cars, you don't need to get up under, you don't need to jack the car to get to the seat bolts. And that's out. Now I ended up putting this together, and I put the bracket down here for this to slide back and forth. Now to figure out where this is going to go, I'm assuming it's going to be some of these big holes. Great assumption. So if I put that there, the fire extinguisher head is going to end up right at the edge of this, which seems about right. So I'm going to go ahead and put these 2 screws through these holes. And then I'm going to put this bracket on the back of it to hold that in place. Okay, with that in place, now this would just fall in right here. So probably want to move this way some. This is going to go out to wherever the seat is. So this extended, who knows how far I'm going to be to make it work on the seat. Depending on how it fits, I actually might end up moving this up this way a little bit more because I thought it was gonna sit a little bit higher. So there are extra screw holes, so I can move it up to here to give myself a little room. You know what, I'm gonna go ahead and do that now before we take the seat out. Now, so it's attached. I'm assuming that I have the standard mount, the standard bracket. So standard bracket uses these two internal ones to these two screws. The Pro lock looks like it connects this, this, and this one. So looks like it fits. Looks like it's in the right place. This now fits on and can be snapped down and in place. So with this here, now we just need to figure out how this is gonna fit in the car. Now here's where we get to make some decisions. So potentially under here, if I put them under here, that means it's gonna be bolted to the floor. It won't move. If I put them here, then it'll be bolted to the seat and it'll move with the seat. So I think what we're gonna have to do is try out some different locations, move this back and forth, and then see how everything works. Also, should replace these seat brackets. So this one installed is gonna lift the seat up a little bit if I install it where I was looking at. So the thickness of this is about 1/8 of an inch. So I can buy some 1/8 inch spacers to put with it. So good old NPD has everything we need. So this would work for body part panels, but could probably also make it work for the seat if I need to. Okay, seat brackets, seat track, space, plate set. Don't know what that's used for. Then the 1/8 inch thick spacer. So we're gonna purchase these and we're gonna do an install in another video. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna install the bracket on there, see how everything fits, make sure the motion and everything's correct while I'm waiting for these parts to come in. We're gonna install the seat back in the car before the parts come in just to get everything lined up. And I'll do a separate video on changing out the seat brackets and fixing those. But let's go ahead, let's get the fire extinguisher mount on it and see how everything fits together. So the issue over here is these brackets here aren't long enough to be able to get outside and away from the seat. So I bought some aluminum and we're gonna use this to build some brackets that's gonna replace those and it extended away. I'll make sure that I put the measurements and everything here that if someone else wants to build them, they can. But now I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take these apart, I'm gonna see how they fit, and then sand these down and start fitting everything together. Now this is fully extended. So I moved this seat bracket all the way forward, which is the worst case scenario for the fire extinguisher back there. With the seat track all the way forward, that means this is all the way back because these aren't actually gonna move. So with this here, I should be able to kind of get an idea of where this is gonna go and then figure out where I'm gonna drill that hole here for the fire extinguisher bracket. So far so good. Everything looks like it's still kind of tracking to work, but we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put this in the car, set up like this, and then we'll see how well it works. And we'll figure out where this measurement needs to be and if this even works. Now I've literally spent hours trying to figure out how I'm gonna put this on, so I think this is the way that I'm gonna do it. So I have this bracket, I put it underneath the seat rail. So I just need to make sure that this does not come in contact at all with the seat. And then on this side, I actually spaced it up using one of these seat spacers, or these seat track spacers that you can buy. So with this here, I think I can put from here back and see how long the bracket actually needs to be and do the same thing on the other side. So this one is out towards the driver's side. This one is also gonna have to be out pointing this way because based on the hole location, I'm not gonna be able to run it on the inside. So it has to be here, pointed out. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these seat brackets back on the seat and then I'm gonna put the seat in and we'll test how everything fits. So this is typically where I drive, so I'd want it somewhere in this range. But I'd also, like if I go all the way back, I want to make sure that it's not hitting anything. So to do that, I'm gonna have to mount it pretty much with this at all the way back. All right, so where I think I want to place it is pretty much all the way back so that it's sitting on the floor like that, so I can move the seat all the way back without impacting anything if I want. So essentially what that's gonna mean is I'm gonna end up using a lot of this aluminum, so probably almost the entire foot of it. just to keep this in a safe space. So I used some self-etching primer to prime the aluminum to make sure the paint's going to adhere to it. After I did this, I took out the satin black paint and sprayed them both satin black so that it'll match the interior of the car. It's a really flat black, so this is, I think, a high temperature header paint that I used. Not specifically ideal for this application, but at least to try to get everything to fit, let's go ahead and line everything up and make sure everything works. All right, so you can see the seat bracket down here. It's in place and I'm ready to screw to it. The seat isn't bolted down yet because I wanted to make sure that everything worked first. So I'm going to go ahead and put those brackets on and see how everything lines up. Okay, you can see we're mounted right where the seat belt is in the back, and you can see we are not going anywhere, so we're nice and sturdy in there. Both of these brackets down there, they actually blended in the car pretty well. I did nick it there, so I have to fix that. But when I look at it, it's a nice setup. It works well. The seat's all the way forward. We're gonna go ahead, we'll move the seat back all the way and then we'll take a look at it. So the goal was, with the seat all the way back, I wanted to make it so that it was barely missing. So there was probably like an 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch of a gap. And that's what I accomplished. So usual driving position on this car for me is probably about right here, which gives me some space in between the fire extinguisher. Now, when I get out and I'll get out all the way, push the seat back, because I don't have a tilt column, so you don't get the ability to tilt the column up and get out. And this wheel is big. So now we can go take a look at the fire extinguisher in the back. Now with this all the way back, you can see that there is still a gap between the tip of the fire extinguisher and the seat. And it goes all the way through. Now the fire extinguisher is mounted. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. You know, I picked the best scenario, what I thought would be the best. So not having the fire extinguisher move back and forth. You could always mount it closer to the seat if you want to build some custom brackets, but you know, it was a little bit more work than I expected, needing to build these brackets for it, but it turned out good. Thanks for tuning in to Smackie's Garage. I'll see you next time. We did have one casualty. You can see I actually bent this a little bit, if you can see it on there, probably from my knee and working in there. I'm gonna either need to push it out or replace it. Probably end up just replacing it.